Hello, welcome back. For those who are new, I'm Georgie. Welcome to the channel. We have the most fun. If you like music, if you like books, if you like having fun, this is the channel for you. That was so weird. But I'm being fully serious. We talk about a lot on this channel, mainly books and music, because they're my favorite things in the world, but I can also talk about whatever you want. So if you have other topics that you'd like to discuss, if you want me to do movie reviews, I am in fact an actor, so I could do movie reviews. Oh my God. Okay, anyway. So today I haven't done a book video in a really long time, and it's June. It's like middle of June, so it's kind of middle of the year-ish. So I thought that we would do a half-year reading wrap-up, because I haven't actually spoken about any of the books that I've read this year. And I've read 15 books this year, which is pretty good for me. I go to uni full-time, so I don't have a lot of time. I study law. It's a lot of readings already that I have to do. So I'm not, I can't do that much reading when I'm at uni because I just don't have the time. But I've done pretty well this year, so we're gonna get into it, and I'm gonna tell you what I thought, give you a rating, and we'll just have some fun. Let's have some fun. The first two books that I read was The Love Wager and Iron Flame, and I believe I spoke about them in my the books that I read in 2023 wrap up. So if you want to hear about that, go to that one. So I'm not going to talk about it here because I've already spoken about it. So go watch that video. Okay, the next book, the third book that I read that I don't have the physical copy of is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This book, if you're a young woman and you've read this book, you will understand this book really, it was like she cut open my brain and went, hey, let's have a little look-see-loo in here. I'm going to tell you what your deepest, darkest thoughts are. And that was really terrifying. I didn't love it. But I really did enjoy the book. I thought it was very well written. It was beautiful, the writing style. Her writing style is absolutely beautiful. The fig tree analogy made me spiral 4 weeks. I kept thinking about it. I still think about it all the time. Also, I've never felt so seen when she was like talking about how much she loves baths. I love a bath. And she just described it so well in that book. And I'm like, I feel seen. So I really loved that book. I gave it 4.5 out of 5. I thought it was excellent. I think if you're a young girl, definitely read it. Be prepared. It will make you reflect on yourself and your life in ways that you might not want to, but you should. So enjoy it. I really liked that one. Also, I'm sorry if you don't like this outfit. I don't want to hear it. I'm just comfy, okay? I'm comfy core. Anyway, let's move on. The next book that I read was, because one thing that I love when I am at uni is to just read a fun little romance book, because it doesn't take up that much of my brain power to understand what's happening and to just love the vibes. So I had already seen that I loved Lynn Painter from The Love Wager, so I decided to read Better Than the Movies. Now, I've heard some hate for this book, and I don't understand, because I am not a huge romance book girly. I don't fiend for romance books the way a lot of other people seem to, because I just read a lot of everything. But I really liked this one. Yes, there were times when it was kind of cringe, and I was like, don't say that, that's embarrassing. But it was adorable. It was so cute. It gave me the vibes of The Duff, if you've seen that movie. But Wes, oh, also The Duff. Oh, I just realized The Duff, literally the guy's name is Wes. Maybe that's why it gave me those vibes. Maybe that's the only reason why it gave me those vibes. Anyway, I think this is an adorable little romance book. It's a little enemies to lovers. It's about two people who are in high school, Liz and Wes, and they live opposite each other and they have their whole lives and they don't like each other. And that's all I'll say. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really sweet. And it just made me, I was smiling at the book like a damn fool for so long. It was very much rom-com vibes. And then when I finished it, I kept rereading passages. What a loser. But I did. I loved it so much. So I gave this like a 4.5 out of 5. Now, take with that what you will. When I say I gave this the same rating I gave to Bell Jar, they're not on the same level. Okay, so don't try and say, oh my God, she's so stupid. She gave this the same rating as Bell Jar. No, I didn't. I rate things, it's all relative to what it is. So this is a romance book. In terms of romance books, I gave it 4.5 out of 5. Because what am I after? I'm after a cute little romance, a nice little romantic story, some comedy if there can be. I love a little rom-com. And just for the overall vibes to be something that I like. And this hit the mark. If it was compared to the Bell Jar, it'd probably be like a 2 or a 3 out of 5. But I loved it as a romance book. Do you know what I mean? Do you see what I'm saying? So don't get crazy with the ratings that I give. That's why I give them. But this book was a yes from me. And if you hate on it, you just hate fun. You just hate having fun. And I can't relate to that. So you're weird. So I love this book. Then I finished Just Kids by Patti Smith. I started reading this one last year, in like the middle of last year, and I loved it so much that I just didn't want to finish it. So I left the book, I was like in the middle of it, and I just left it for so long because I loved it so much and I didn't want it to end. Patti Smith is such an incredible writer. I have so many things underlined in here that I just think are the most beautiful passages I've ever read in my life. The whole story of her and Robert is so beautiful and just heartbreaking and so real. And it is just, it's very much the aesthetic of like, you know, the Chelsea Hotel. And if you've seen my Tortured Poets Department reaction video and you're like, oh, that's crazy, she knows who Patti Smith is. You're not Dylan Thomas, I'm not Patti Smith. This ain't the Chelsea Hotel, we're modern idiots. That's from this book. I know all about Patti Smith from this book. I think she's incredible. The writing was beautiful. And I also feel like it was such a raw and authentic telling of her story and of their life together that I wanted to savor it. I didn't want it to be over quickly. So I took some time in my own life to pause and then I came back to it, which just made it all the more beautiful. And then the end broke my heart, but in the best way possible. So if you haven't read this book, please go read it. It's so good. It's one of the best things you'll ever read. 5 out of 5. I said what I said. So good. Okay, the next book that I read, I can't be bothered to get it out, but it's here. It's The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas. I think that's the same woman who wrote Spanish Love Deception. I could be wrong. This book I bought last year when I was coming back off the plane. I was overseas and I was coming back and I bought it for the plane, and then I ended up watching movies the whole time and I didn't read a single thing. So I had low expectations buying it. I just wanted something fun to read. I didn't love it. I started it and then I got maybe like halfway through and then I didn't finish it for a long time. Not for the same reason as Just Kids, but just because I wasn't interested. And then I don't like to not finish books. So I just had to power through and finish it. It was fine. It was a romance book. It had like all of the same tropes that you look for. There was just nothing interesting about it that made me fall in love with it, if that makes sense. So I gave that one probably like a 2 or 3 out of 5 in romance books setting for the rating. So I didn't love it, but let me know if you did, because again, a lot of people didn't like Better Than the Movies, and I loved that book. So the next one, I don't know what I did. I don't remember. I do remember doing this, but I don't. I think I needed a fantasy book fixed. So I reread A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, and A Court of Wings and Ruin. Also, I write down the dates that I finished them. I finished A Court of Thorns and Roses on the 1st of March, the next one on the 4th of March, and the next one on the 7th of March. Did I do anything other than read? To be fair, they're very easy books to read because they're just so good. If you know me, I love Sarah J. Maas. The Throne of Glass is my favorite fantasy book series ever. I will not change my mind. I can't. And I do like ACOTAR. I'm a big fan. So I read the first 3 books again just because I feel like I was in a bit of a reading slump and I wanted to get back into the fantasy feel of it. And TikTok was making me feel left out because everyone was just discovering ACOTAR for the first time. A lot of people were like reading it for the first time and I was like, hey, you know what? I want to read it again because I remember I loved it when I first read it. And yeah, for a reason. Loved it. So they're like 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5. In terms of fantasy book, love them. So good. So we don't need to talk about them because we already know. If you haven't read them, go read them. Do yourself a favor. Go read them. Let me know. Then I read another Lynn Painter. I was clearly going through something. I was clearly feeling a little bit romantic and wanted to read a bunch of romance books at the start of the year. This one was Betting on You. This one I did like. This is Enemies to Lovers. It's two kids who both have parents who are divorced. They meet each other for the first time on the plane going to or coming back from one of their parents' house, like individually their parents. And I liked it. I thought it was good. I didn't love it as much as the other two, but I thought it was cute. I thought it was fun, very witty. I think Lynn writes dialogue really well. I quite like her dialogue. So I really liked it. I thought it was good. I gave it probably like a 3 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5 in terms of romance books. So it was good. If you want to give it a go, give it a go. But I really like Lynn. I think she's a great romance author. Because also these are how big romance books should be. Look how small they are. That's what it should be. This one's verging on the big side. You shouldn't be any bigger than that. People who have romance books that are like a lot bigger, what are you doing with that? That's not why we pick up a romance book, you know? Don't make it into like a whole 500-page thing, because that's just too much. No romance book needs that much airtime. Sorry if that's rude. Like Twisted Lies. Why is that so big? No one needs it to be that big. Don't do that. Don't do that. Anyway, moving on. So that was 3.5 out of 5. Then I thought, the new book's just come out. I thought I have to start the new Sarah J Maas Crescent City series. So I read A House of Earth and Blood. I really liked it. Honestly, it's still, at the moment, I've only read the first one. It's still Throne of Glass, ACOTAR, Crescent City so far. My one complaint is Throne of Glass started off as just a book about assassins for a very long time before it got into the real like fantasy supernatural kind of stuff. And so I could be on board with that. And then when it got into the supernatural stuff, I still loved it because it wasn't anything too crazy that I had to get on board with. Even ACOTAR, those men with wings, crazy. The Fae with the pointed ears, but I could still get on board with it. You know, I could still see it. There was a character in here with the legs of a Giselle. No. It kind of crossed the line for me with this one, with the amount of like animal stuff. Like the wolves, weren't they? There was one, I don't know, werewolves. I'm not a fan of the wolves. And there were just a lot of creatures who were like actually half animal, half human, which I didn't like. I was like, you lost me there. That's too much for me. I don't like that. So that part didn't love, but I mean, it's a Sarah J Maas book. I didn't read the back, and I suggest you don't read the back, so I was absolutely shocked. Don't read the back, just go straight in. I try and do that with most of the books that I get, so yeah, don't read the back. I was shocked, I cried, I shed tears. It was a 4 out of 5. It was very good. It was just the animal stuff. I was like, I don't like this. I'm not a fan. It was a little bit too much. Like her best friend, wasn't she like half Giselle? Gazelle? I was like, no. Just no. Don't do that. So that part I didn't like, but the rest of it, loved. Then I read A Happy Place by Emily Henry. I've only ever read Beach Read, and I really liked Beach Read. I enjoyed this one. This one I'd probably give a 3.5 out of 5. I didn't love it. I thought I would. I loved the start. I thought it was like an interesting premise that they'd like broken up and hadn't told any of their friends. There were definitely moments in it that I really liked, but there was a bit towards the end where I just kind of got bored and didn't really care anymore, which honestly does happen to me with romance books. Which is why I like to read fantasy with like a subplot of romance. I struggle when the whole plot is romance, you know what I mean? But it was good. 3.5, 4 out of 5 for a romance book. And then the last 3 books that I've read have been this series, A Darker Shade of Magic. So good, absolutely so good. I read this book, let's see, 4th of June, 8th of June, and 11th of June was the time frame that I finished all of these. So finished the one on the 4th of June, this one on the 8th, and then finished this one on the 11th. So that's how good it was. That's how quickly I read it. If I read that quickly, it means that I'm invested. And There were many a late night that I stayed up because the chapter would end and I'd be like, I just have to know what happens. So good. 10 out of 10. If you're interested in starting fantasy but you don't know where to start, I'd give this a whirl. Really. I would. So I really, really enjoyed it. So 5, honestly 4.5 out of 5 for fantasy books. Loved it. Okay, so that is the video. That's all the books that I've read. That's 15 so far in the year, and we're in June. So I'm feeling good. I've never gotten to 30 books. So I feel like I might be able to reach 30. That's the goal. The goal is to read 30 books. And I know what you're saying. I know that there's some people on BookTok who are reading like 68 books. I don't know how they do that. But also, some of them, they do say that and then they're all romance books. And I'm like, I could probably read that many romance books. Like, this book is chunky. You know what I mean? So, give me a break. I'm trying my hardest. Also, I'm a full-time uni student. So there's just no time. But I will try and read as much as I can so that we can discuss more. Let me know what books you've read. Let me know what books you've read this year, if you've read some of the same ones, what your opinion is of the ones that I've read. And let's just chat about books. It's my favorite thing to do. And yeah, have a lovely day and subscribe for more videos. Okay, bye.